So my fitness journey actually started just before I was 17. I was probably roughly between like 57 and 60 kilograms, so I was very light, maybe like 5 foot 10, 5 foot 11. I remember taking this photo about a year and a half into training when me and my mate Ben were going to Ayia Napa, and we got a photo on a boat party, and we posted it everywhere and we're telling each other, well, we look fucking massive in this. So I hit good numbers. I hit a 240 kilogram deadlift, which I've got a video of you can have a look at. My strongest point of my lifting career was when I was 20 years old, but since then I've kind of moved away of that sort of stuff. I've just got small and weak since then. If you're bulking, you should be eating that kind of stuff. Right guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm heading to Elite Fitness right now to train pool. I'm also going to talk about my 5-year natural transformation and discuss some of the mistakes that I made along the way. So my fitness journey actually started just before I was 17. I heard that Elite Fitness, where we're heading to right now, just opened up a few months previous. So I was always interested to maybe go up and give it a go and see what I thought about it, because at that time I was playing football, but I was kind of starting to slowly fall out of love with football, and I was kind of trying to dive into a different sort of passion, which obviously is now the gym. So it started just for my 17th birthday. I went up with no experience, no clue what to do at all. I went up to the reception desk, they're like, "You've been to a gym before?" I was on the spot, I just went, yeah, I've been to the gym before.
You didn't have an induction?
No induction, straight into it. And so I just went around all the machines, kind of not really clue what I was doing, and just was pushing, pulling. I think I was working chest on pull days and etc. It was crazy.
So do you remember like some of the early training programs, or what was there even a program?
No, there was no program for me for a couple of years anyway. It was more just a kind of, as a hobby. I enjoyed going there, just get out of the house a bit. It was also just to kind of get out of school as well. So I can't say school's the most enjoyable place in the world. So it was after school, every day, just head up to the gym straight after, get changed, and just go and follow the same routine that I'd been following previously, until I maybe say I was a wee bit older. I started obviously getting a plan and getting a better understanding of the gym. But it was watching videos like on YouTube and watching different sort of fitness influencers kind of teaching you stuff to do, different exercises and techniques to try out.
Do you remember who some of the early inspirations were?
Early inspirations, well, Christian Guzman's the goat, isn't he? So he was one of the first ones, along with Mo Samuel. For those who don't know Mo Samuel, check him out, he's brilliant. His transformation as well is one of the ones that stick with me, and kind of seeing how his journeys went is crazy.
Do you remember what kind of meals you were eating early on?
Dominoes. No, I don't really, to be fair. It was just constant, just as much as I could get my system really. That probably came later on, but when I was maybe around 18, I started really diving into making sure I was just eating volumes of food. It wasn't really healthy food, it wasn't really good food, yeah, it was technically Dorsa Balkan, which kind of whatever my mum made me for dinner at night, so I didn't really, obviously that was a bit different. But yeah, it was hard. See, obviously when you're living at home and your mum's making your dinner for you, it's whatever she's making goes, so you can't really tell her to make one thing and for me and the rest of the family. But now as I've got older, I'm a better cook now. I can kind of cook all my own meals, so that is ideal. You're about to be famous, Chris Liddle. But was it busy earlier on, aye?
It's still early on, aye. It's always busy in the mornings, mate.
What's that?
What?
What's it not called?
Stella.
Stella?
This is Stella.
The gym mascot.
It's because of the food. Yeah, what's that? What's that?
You want to jump in, feel free, I'm doing pool.
I'll try, man, but I don't know if I'll be able to.
So the motivation for me for starting the gym was just down to the frame and the size of me. So at the age of 16 and 17, like I've said previously, I was probably roughly between 57 and 60 kilograms, so I was very light. At that stage I was also quite tall as well. I was maybe 5 foot 10, 5 foot 11, so I was not a pick of fat on me, not a pick of muscle either on me. So it was that way where I was still playing football at the time, boys my year, and everyone was getting bigger and stronger than me, so I felt a bit out of place, and I was really motivated to get into the gym and learn and try and educate myself and obviously make a better version of myself, both physically and obviously mentally as well. So I went into the gym, was nervous at first, came up, spoke to people like Chris and Dale and Tony, everyone that watched at the gym, and they gave me pointers that really helped me improve my knowledge in the gym, as well as obviously passing it on to other members in the gym as well that were just starting out as well. So it was good. It was a environment that's quite nerve-wracking coming into when you're young, and you obviously don't have any muscle on. You're coming into a gym that's full of big boys and they all get vests on, you're coming in with your oversized t-shirt on trying to hide it. So it was nerve-wracking, but it was good, and obviously the motivation just came. You start seeing beginner gains, which is progress that you get in the first 6 months of training. You really start getting more motivated each time. That's what gets you in the gym every single day. The one thing I wish I did was maybe rest a little bit more. I came in 7 days a week, not giving my body the opportunity to rest, and that is really when your body starts to grow at most, when you're giving yourself maybe 5 days training and 2 days off. time to recover. So one of the biggest motivations for training for myself is holidays. I remember taking this photo about a year and a half into training when me and my mate Ben, who you've probably seen me training with, we were going to Ayia Napa. I was just turned 18, so I was 6-year holiday about 4 years ago now, and we got a photo on a boat party, and we posted it everywhere, and we're telling each other, well, we look fucking massive in this. So it's one of the photos that's good to look back on, obviously your progress that you've both made together. She is my training partner, and obviously seeing how much we've both grown in the last coming years has been brilliant. So it's always good to look back on photos like that, as well as using holidays and stuff like that as motivation to obviously get yourself in the gym and obviously focus a bit more on the nutrition side of it as well to get you looking as good as possible. So we've got Ibiza next week, a week today we've got Ibiza now, so we'll remake the photo, and we'll probably put them beside each other. You can see the difference in it, so it'll be good. So at the beginning, my strength progression, as it is for everyone, kind of increases rapidly. Well, obviously when you're first starting out in the gym, like I've talked about the previous beginner gains and that. But as I moved on, maybe a couple of years into training, I was kind of more training for strength, so my rep range is a little bit lower, my sets were a little bit higher. So I hit good numbers. I hit a 240 kilogram deadlift, which I've got a video of, you can have a look at it. Oh, I hit 230, I went then hit 240, got to about here, so I didn't fully lock out. So I got to about this position here, central nervous system, everything just shut down. I'll put the video up, and you see me shaking and everything. So it actually floored me for about 4 or 5 days after it, but I was 20 then. So I was trying to push for a 250 kilogram deadlift. Ever since that day, that 240, I've never ever went back to deadlifting heavy. So my bench was 120 kilograms at the age of 20 as well, and my squat was up at 165 at the age of 20. So my strongest point of my lifting career was when I was 20 years old, but since then I've kind of moved away of that sort of stuff. I've just got small and weak since then. No, I've started focusing on more hypertrophy.
Bench press, do you remember when you hit the 100 kg for the first time?
I hit the 100 kg when I was 19, so I've got a video of that as well I can show you. It was smoothish, a little bit squint, but no, I hit that, and then I remember 2 weeks later I went on to hit that for free. So I remember that was like a big achievement in there, obviously then going from 1 rep 3 weeks later, 2 weeks later hitting 3 reps of it. So fast forward a year now, when I was 20, that's when lockdown happened. And I was currently at university studying risk management, so I was going into my 2nd year. It was that stage where lockdown happened, quite a lot of people that I knew were kind of falling off track in the gym, and just kind of falling off track in routine in general, as obviously work was now being carried out from home. It wasn't a routine of getting up, going to the office to work, or vice versa, going to the gym, as gyms obviously were shut. So I found that time, it was kind of time for me to kind of reflect and kind of decide where I want to go in the next couple of years. So from there, what I'd done was I ended up dropping out of uni after 3rd year. I got my bachelor's degree, or my honours degree, left uni, decided not to work my final year, and started my passion, which was personal training. From there, it was a matter of just consistently eating, training at my friend's garage, and then recovering. So I think that really benefited me a lot over the course of the 2 years around lockdown. Is obviously it was brutal for people who didn't have gyms to train at, where I was fortunate enough that my mate had a garage with a few bits and bobs. It wasn't brilliant, but with a few bits of old machinery and equipment that we could use. And from there, it was a matter of, like I said, eating, sleeping, training, repeating, and from there I built up maybe about 10 kilograms in about a year. So about 9 to 10 kilograms, went from 71 to 81 kilograms, and most of it was muscle. Dieting was quite clean as well, so it was a matter of just trying to get 3,000 to 4,000 calories in. Wasn't tracking my eating as well, and just a matter of just trying to get as consistent as possible. So coming out of lockdown after a tough 2 years of obviously not having gyms being open, they finally opened, and I was straight back up into elite working, and obviously just again now got all of my best machinery in here to obviously grow. I then started building up my clientele as well, as obviously now it was time to get clients in and start building my business. So over the course, moving a year forward to where I am now, I've managed to build up a clientele of 30 clients. Most of them are one-to-ones, but I've now gradually shifted onto online as well, where I've started building up my online platform. So from there, I've obviously been focused on my nutrition. I've got myself an online coach, both for business and both for my own self-improvement, and the things I've learned over the course of coming out of lockdown have been absolutely frightening, due to obviously teaching from Ben, teaching from people like the Fat PT and Tony that's up the gym as well. All the boys I'm surrounding myself with, educate myself day in and day out. Obviously a lot older than me, got a lot more experience and knowledge as well. So what I'm doing is I'm implementing that with my clients as well, and the progress I'm seeing from them as well as myself is absolutely frightening. So since working with Brain the last 8 weeks, I've learnt a lot, both from a personal point of view and a business point of view. One of the main things that all come together is routine. It's so vital having the correct routine, as that is going to bed at night or getting up in the morning. It sets you up for the day ahead. And obviously if you're following the same routine, your body will recover and get used to it better, which is allowing you more energy, allowing you better sessions, and allowing you to plan for the future and plan ahead of that day. Whereas if you get up with a bad routine and obviously your day's all over the place, that's when you start to fall behind and you're less productive. So routine's one of the main things I've learned from Ben, but inside training, it's a matter of stripping the weight back, focusing on intensity and focusing on tempo. So what I've learned a lot is the eccentric and concentric movement is absolutely vital. Obviously it's good to lift heavy, and it's obviously good to technically show off as well what weights you can lift, but what I've learned is stripping back the weight, focusing on a 3 second, 2 second eccentric, which is a negative movement, and a concentric movement, which is the positive movement, and obviously time under tension, how the muscles grow. So it is really important in that, but other than that, like everything I've learned from a business point of view, I've implemented onto my clients and they've seen a big progress. So obviously check-ins are a bit more intimate now as well. I've got limb video check-ins which we dive straight into your week, talk about your week you've had, and talk about maybe some suggestions, some improvements to make for the following week, just so we can get a better version of yourself every single week. But it is very important at the end of the day to get the basics right, basics correct first, and then we move on to the more complex sort of stuff. So really keep that in mind, basics first, then we'll move on. So as of now, we're currently a week out from Ibiza, so calories been stripped back a little bit, weight's dropped a fair bit, but I find myself leaning out a lot as well. So I'm currently weighing 76.7 kilograms, which is an all-time low in the last couple of years. Like previously when we spoke about my weight, I was up at 78. So stripped a couple of kilograms back since then. Feeling really good, feeling energised well going into sessions, but also calories have dropped. So it's good that I'm fueling myself with the right foods. Protein's still nice and high, which is good, which is filling me up for a good amount of time. Only problem is on rest days when I'm not training, I'm not occupied for a couple of hours, I do start to get hungry and get the cravings, but it's a mindset, as I said, it's a matter of 7 days to go. I want to bring my best version of myself to Ibiza and see what happens. So calories are currently on training days 2,100 and on rest days roughly hitting about 1,700 right now. Protein's still very, very high, up at 200 grams plus. So recovery levels are still there. Water intake is still very high, 5 to 6 litres per day, which is keeping me energised. And also on the rest days where I'm getting a little bit hungry, I'm filled by just water intake. So it's good in that sense as well, that obviously I've got a bit of flexibility in my diet. The foods are all still quite filling, but as we move forward, obviously it's going to get a bit stricter with the coming. To wrap up the session, guys, we're going to talk to you about 3 mistakes that I made over the 5-year process that I've had that I don't want you to make. The first one is understanding what progressive overload is. This is a mistake I made where I came into the gym every session and just didn't bother looking at the weights that I was lifting previously, so I wasn't really sure where I was making progress. For you to understand what progressive overload is, it's where you set yourself a rep range, for example 6 to 10, doing bench press, and you give yourself a target of 60 kilograms. From here you want to hit 6 reps and then each week increase it to 7, 8, 9 and then 10. Once you hit your 10, you then increase the weight to 65. From here you repeat the process. I made this mistake by coming into the gym and just lifting whatever weight I felt like on the day, and I couldn't really track my own progress. Point number 2 interlocks point number 1, which is tracking your weights with a logbook. This is a mistake that I made where I didn't track any of my lifts at all. I came into the gym and just lifted whatever I felt like on the day. For you, tracking your lifts, it means you can go into each session, plan ahead, knowing what you're going to lift, and that'll allow you to then go into your progress and overload and see what weights you're going to lift each session. Another way of tracking progress as well as a logbook is taking photos and videos of your form as well as you before sessions. This will allow you to look back in years to come and see where you've progressed. And point number 3 is just keeping it easy and don't make it too complex for yourself. When looking at calories and macros, it can often get confusing. So first of all, just start and hit your calorie target and your protein target. Don't worry about fats and carbs until later on. Get the simple stuff correct first and then we'll move on to the more complex stuff. Will she bite me if I hold her less in a photo or a video? Yeah.
Whenever you're ready.
And for those of you that are starting out training, you're wondering how to bulk and how to cut, if you're bulking, you should be eating that calorie. No, I shouldn't have it. And for those of you that are starting out and wondering how to calorie count, if you want to bulk and put on weight and muscle, you should be eating a calorie surplus. Whereas if you want to be cutting and losing weight and toning up, you should be eating a calorie deficit. Right guys, that's a wrap in the video. I've just trained pull up at Elite Fitness. I'm going to be posting consistent content every Sunday night, 6 o'clock. So if there's anything you want to see, drop me a DM. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe.